Hello, my name is Nelson Phillips, and today I'm going to teach you how to do some basic computer maintenance. So, before you ever do anything on your computer, you want to make sure that all power to your computer is completely cut. So, the simplest way to do it is come over to your computer and just make sure to hit that power switch on the top. After that's completely shut off, reach around the back to the power supply unit and make sure that's cut off as well. If you want to be extra cautious, you can hit the power button again after you've turned off power to the power supply unit, and if there's still power left on the motherboard, it'll flash and it'll all be gone. Okay, so what you want to start with doing is finding the tab on the back of your graphics card that will let you release it from the motherboard. So this might be hard to find. I'm going to try and zoom in on it for you. It's a little hard because I have a black background, but I'll get some light in there for you real quick. So you might be able to see it, you might not. It's a little gray tab that sticks up from the top of your graphics card. Pretty easy to pop back. Sometimes it's a little harder. So I'm going to take a quick break to pop that down and I'll be right back. Okay, now that it's popped down, you're going to want to grab a screwdriver. Pretty straightforward. Walk over here, you'll see these screws on the side. Mine are currently just on these top two here. So you want to start unscrewing them from top to bottom. They should come out pretty easy. If you tighten them right when you put it back in, they should only be so tight, you know? So pull that out. Work from top to bottom, super easy. You'll notice as you screw the bottom one out, it'll start to sag a little bit, that's normal. Okay. Now that your back tab is popped out and your screws are out, you need to unplug everything from your graphics card. So you'll start with what's inside the case, which is just these two, at least for my case, two power supplies to the graphics card. It depends on the size and how old your graphics card is. Some of the older ones didn't require as much power, so they won't have as much power needed to be supplied to them. And then on the back, if you have any HDMIs or display cables, just unplug them. Pretty simple. Okay, now if you follow all these steps, it should be able to pull out pretty easy. I have this little diamond there for support, but other than that, it should come right out. Now, this is what your graphics card might look like. It'll have fans on the bottom, pretty standard. It'll have this, which is what clips into your PCI slot. Pretty easy stuff. So now that it's out, you're ready to do some pretty basic maintenance. Okay, so now that you have your card out, ready to do some easy maintenance. So areas of focus while you're cleaning. You're going to want to make sure that you get down in your fans, get all around there, get any dust out. You can use Q-tips. Compressed air is really nice if you're working on cards like this where they're kind of tight and compact. You want to get in those small spaces. Compressed air can really help you out. Like I said, Q-tips, cotton balls, alcohol. If there's any grime or really like dirt, which there shouldn't be, but if there is, you can use just a little bit of rubbing alcohol because it evaporates quickly to clean up your parts. A lot of people worry about any liquids getting on parts and shorting it. That's really only if there's power supplied to the part. So what you see here is a back plate. Some cards have these, some cards don't. Really it doesn't make too much of a difference, and besides how you handle it. See, when I have a back plate, I'm able to put it plate down, and I prefer that because it puts less stress on the framing around the fans and less stress on the fans. But if you don't, you want to put it fans down while you're cleaning it, or unless you're holding it, just to be safe, to not damage what's on the back, which looks like a motherboard. It's not, but it's kind of. But yeah, pretty straightforward. Mine is already cleaned, so I won't clean it on camera, but once you're done with that, you're ready to reinstall it. Okay, so you've now removed, cleaned, and you're ready to reinstall your graphics card. This is probably one of the easier steps besides cleaning. Straightforward. It's pretty much the reverse of what you did before. So you want to start by finding that PCI slot. Mine is at the top. You always want to pick the highest one and the one that fits your card, because that'll give you the best performance. Okay, so start by just finding the right slot and sliding it on in. Make sure there's no cables in the way. Now once it's slid in, you want to push down and pressure. You'll feel that first side click in. And now this is the important part. Make sure you put pressure on this side. You might want to put a hand on the back of the computer. Put pressure on this side until that tab pops back up, and it should be secured in there nicely. Okay, now you want to move on to your screws. I think you still want to move from bottom to top, instead of top to bottom this time, and apply some slight upward pressure on the card just to keep it from sagging. You can see there's a decent difference here, and it does actually have a decent effect on your card, less of performance and more of lifespan, because if your card is sagging down, it actually will pull on that PCI slot, causing it to, it could be warped or bent, which really, you know, when you're doing, oh, drop the screw, it happens, it's the best of us, but you don't want that PCI slot to bend, because that can cause some damage to not just your graphics card, but also to your whole motherboard, which is quite an expensive part to replace. Okay, so now that your screws are in, you're ready to just plug stuff back in. So I start with my power cables just so you can get them out of the way. You'll see that pretty much the same method of how you took them out. You put them back in, you don't have to lift the tab, you can just push it in, should click down. And then I'll plug this one in as well. Cool. So now that's plugged in, pretty much good to go. You just want to make sure that if there was any display cables or HDMI cables, plug those back in, because that's what gives you your display and your monitor. Plug mine in. Okay, so now that this is all set up, you should be good to go. Make sure to flip the power supply unit back on. Mine gives me a little flash to let me know it's on when I flick it on. And then just hit that power button, and voila, your PC should start right up, and you should eventually start seeing some graphics displayed on your monitor, and you should be all good.